there, Dr. Alita Jones.
Well,
Carlos Millsap, how you
hello.
doing today?
I'm well, and yourself?
Fantastic, fantastic. So where are you located?
I'm in Sacramento, California.
Oh, okay, Sacramento, the state capital.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's how
absolutely.
we roll over here. Where are
There
you
you
from?
go. Well, I'm from this little ugly town down south of you called San Diego.
Oh, I like San Diego. That's a beautiful
Yeah,
place.
absolutely. I tell people that every weekend I feel like I'm on vacation because
Exactly.
yeah, so what I do is every Saturday morning I go down to the beach and I walk along the beach about about 2.5 to 3 miles. Not every Saturday, but most Saturdays, and then walk back me and my dog. So we have a good time. So it's kind of fun. I appreciate it. I
Nice,
love it.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. So what school are you at?
I am at University of Phoenix.
Oh, okay, great. And what's your position there?
I am an educator in biology.
Oh, wow. So brains, I got you. I see you. Wow, that definitely was one of my best subjects, but I'm glad you're good at it. So one of us got to be good at it.
I'll
Better
help.
you than me.
I'll
Yeah,
help you like you're going to help me.
I appreciate that. So tell me, Lita, what are you hoping to get out of this meeting today?
Well, I want to see when I can retire. I'm getting up there and I served my time and I'm ready to be free.
I know that's right. I know that's right. So, well, that's exactly what we're going to be able to do for you today is to help you to understand your benefits, how your benefits work, help you to understand how to project what your retirement income is going to look like when you're ready to retire. And then we're going to also help you go through your portal. A lot of times, educators and school employees, they don't know how to navigate through their portal. So we're going to help you go through your portal so that anytime in the future, if you want to go in there, you'll know exactly what to look for. Okay, make sense?
Thank you. Yes, makes sense.
Okay. And I want to make sure that we're able to answer any questions that you may have. Now, I also want to let you know that I'm not with CalPERS. I'm not with your school district. And here's the thing, unfortunately, CalPERS or your school district, they don't really do a good job when it comes to explaining how your benefits work. So fortunately, companies like the one I represent, which is National Life Group, which has been vetted and approved by CalPERS as well as your school district, we come in and then what we do is we help you to understand how your benefits work. And then a lot of times what end up happening is that you'll find out that there's going to be a pay cut or there's going to be an income gap when you retire. So what we try to do is we try to show you ways in which you can overcome that gap, which is very important. Just a few years ago, you probably remember this, when this pandemic hit, there were so many people that wanted to get out of education. We were getting on calls with them all the time, and they were, for the first time, been teaching or in education for 20, 30 years. And for the first time, they were finding out that there was going to be an income gap, that there was going to be a pay cut. And so many times there was so many tears. People were crying because they realized that they weren't going to have the income that they needed. And so what we try to do is we try to help people to understand what that gap's going to look like in advance and do something about it. And the way I tell people is this, is that if you had to fill up a bucket, if you had to fill up a bucket and you had 24 hours to fill that bucket up of water,
Mhm.
because you need a bucket of water and you want to fill it up. If you can just barely turn it on and let it drip and it'll fill up in 24 hours
Mhm.
because you have a long time. But if you had just a couple of minutes to do it, you would have to turn that spigot all the way on, that faucet all the way on to try to fill it up as fast as you can. That's the same thing what happens with filling that gap up. The sooner you start to fill that gap up, because if those individuals would have had a conversation with someone 20, 30 years ago,
Mhm.
when the pandemic hit, they would have been available to retire, but unfortunately they can't. So we're here today to kind of explain to you so that if there is any shortfall, that you can get help. Now, here's the best thing about all that is that if we come up with a strategy or solution for you that, and we're able to help you, and you decide to take that help, the best part of it is that it won't cost you a penny. Is that okay with
Sounds
you?
good. Yes, that sounds really good.
Okay. Great, great, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so now have you logged into your CalPERS account before?
I have.
Okay, well, what I want you to do is go ahead and log in again, and then I
Okay.
want you to go ahead and to share your screen with me.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. So how do you plan on spending your retirement time? You're going to be, you think you'll be visiting family, traveling?
I'm
What
gonna
you
be
plan on doing?
traveling. I'm gonna go home, see my family members in Columbus, Ohio. Going to
Oh, okay,
Costa Rica, going to Vietnam.
okay, okay, wonderful. I hear you. I have family in Columbus, Ohio.
Do you?
Yeah, I sure
Never
do.
know. We
I
could be
sure do.
kin.
Exactly. I was trying to remember what high school. I remember what high school they used to go to, but you're right. We could be kin.
Never
So
know.
I have a lot of family that went to Ohio State. Ohio State for dental school. For I got relatives that attorneys that came out of Ohio State. So got plenty of family there. Okay,
Yes,
great.
I just didn't like the cold.
Ooh, I don't blame you. But I tell you, it's been pretty cold here in California for the last couple of days.
Oh my
So
goodness. I have my heat on.
yeah, a couple of days ago, we had the heat on, but I had on a coat, I had on a hat, and I also had on gloves in the house. So great, great. Okay, so Lita, let me explain to you what we have here for you.
Okay.
So you see the three boxes.
Yes.
The first box is your retirement box. This box is going to tell you how many years you have available before you retire. Now, the surprising thing to me, first and foremost, it says your estimated earliest retirement is 0 years. I'm surprised because that means that you're around 50 or a little bit over 50. I'm shocked by that. So, because I thought you were much younger than that. So, so congratulations on that.
Thank
So
you.
it's telling you, you're welcome. So it's telling you right now that if you were to retire now, that you would get $919.57 per month. Now, the first thing I want to tell you about CalPERS, CalPERS is what you call a defined benefit plan. A defined benefit plan. What does that mean? What that means is that when you get paid your pension is going to be based off of a calculation and not a accumulation, an accumulation, off
Okay.
of a calculation, not off of accumulation. So what that means is that the money that's coming out of your paycheck is not going into accumulating for you, but it's going into a pool to pay everyone that's in CalPERS.
Okay.
It makes sense?
Yes.
Now, the other thing on your behalf is that since you're paying into CalPERS, you're also paying into Social Security. So you will get CalPERS and Social Security. So
I
always
didn't
keep
know
that in
that.
mind. Okay. Okay, great. Now, you're also going to notice it says your retirement formula, 2% at 62. Okay, so remember I said that it's based on a calculation and not off of the accumulation. So here's what happens. If you decide to retire at 62, you will have an age factor of 2%. That's what that 2% represents. Represents an age factor, which is part of an equation that we use to calculate what percent of your final compensation that you're going to receive when you retire.
Okay.
So, for example, the equation is this: years of service or service credit, it's used interchangeably. So, years of service or service credit times age factor equals a percentage. So, years of service times age factor equals a percentage. You'll get that percentage of your final compensation, or what I call final average compensation. The question is, what is your final average compensation? If you have more than 25 years of service, then your final average compensation will be your single highest annual salary.
Okay.
Okay. If you have less than 25 years of service when you retire, your final average compensation will be your three highest annual salaries. Add those together, divide it by three, and that becomes, and you get your average, and that becomes your final average compensation. Okay. Now
Okay.
you get a percentage of either one of those. So let's give you an example. Let's say, one other thing I want to tell you. If you decide to retire before 62, that 2% is reduced. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you decide to retire um, after 62, that 2% is increased to a maximum of 2.5%, which you get at age 67. Okay. So
Okay.
let's imagine that you retire at age 62 with 25 years of service.
Mm-hmm.
So with 25 years of service, at age 62, the age factor is 2%. So we take 25 times 2%, and we get 50%. So if you retire, so in this example, if you retire at 62, your percentage that you'll get of your final average compensation is 50%. So let's say, for instance, your salary, your final average compensation is 100,000.
Okay.
50% of 100,000 is $50,000. So that means that you will get $50,000 as your pension for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Okay, makes sense?
Yes. Yes.
Any questions on that? Okay.
No, not so far.
Okay, great. So once again, over to the right, we have balance. You see
Mm-hmm.
where it says contributions. So,
Yeah.
so far out of your paycheck, you have contributed to the pool $42,105.64. That's how much money that you've contributed. So
Okay.
I always tell people that, so you can tell by looking at this that that your pension is not based off of your accumulation. It's going to be based off of a calculation. And I'm looking at these numbers. I'm sure that you're happy about that. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Now I worked for the state before,
Okay.
but I cashed it out. I rolled it over
Okay.
into an IUL. So
Oh, wonderful. So you'll be all right. Okay. Yeah. So over to the right, while we're looking at service credit. So first thing I want to tell you, when it comes to your pension, it takes 5 years for you to vest. So you're vested. So that means that you're entitled to a pension whenever you decide to retire. Okay.
Okay.
So that's that. Now, if you decide to, like you did before, if you decide to leave CalPERS before the 5 years, if that's anybody, then what happen is that they have options. They can either cash that money out and roll it into something else, or they can just roll into another defined benefit program, but they actually entitled to a refund. After 5 years, you have other options. You could just let the money sit there and then take retirement years later. So that's the additional option
So would you
that you
advise
get.
me to leave my money into the account after I've left the state?
I would say on a case by case basis, we would have to look at all the details to see if it makes sense or not.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to go back over to the first box,
Okay.
and you see down where it says calculated retirement estimate.
Uh-huh.
I want you to go ahead and click on that.
There we go.
Okay, great. So we're gonna act like we're just in case they want to edit. So Alita, go ahead.
Yeah.
See where it says calculated retirement estimate. Go ahead and click on that right there. Perfect. Okay, now scroll down. See where it says start an estimate.
Yes.
Click on that. Good. Okay, now here's a $1 million question. So, what age do you anticipate retiring at?
Now.
I knew that was coming. That's the most popular answer. I tell you that.
62 is a good age.
Okay, so go ahead and click on age, and then put 62 in the box. Then hit continue. Perfect. Good job. All right. So now here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna leave this at 9,400 because what we focus in on right now is not how much you gonna get paid. But we want to really focus in on the percentage of,
Okay.
of what your income is going to be. So go ahead and hit continue. Okay, now we hit continue. Now, let me explain to you how this works. Okay, so when you retire, what CalPERS is going to do, they're going to look at how many unused sick leave days you have.
Okay.
Then what they're going to do is they're going to convert those unused sick leave days into service credits, so that once you retire, you'll get paid, or get paid on those unused sick leave days for the rest of your life. What they're going to do is, when you're ready to retire, they're going to take your unused sick leave days and they're going to divide it by your base contract service days, and they're going to convert that into service credits. They're going to add that onto your service credits once again, so you can get paid on that for the rest of your life. And
Nice.
that's a great benefit there. Now go ahead and hit continue.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Hit continue. Got it. Okay, great. Now let me explain this to you. So this part right here, more and more people that have CalPERS are starting to understand that this right here is kind of like a trap. So what CalPERS does to you is they'll say, hey, if you want your beneficiary to get 100% of what you get, take a reduction of your income. If you want, and even if you want your beneficiary to get 50% of what you get if you pass away, reduce your income. Now, here's the reason why I say it's a trap, or it's a trick. Because what happens is that, just imagine if your beneficiary passes before you, all the money that you did not receive, you'll never receive.
Oh, wow.
And it won't be passed on to anyone. And you remember, you can only keep one beneficiary. Now, if so, let's just say, for instance, that reduction is, based on your salary. Let's just say it's $1,000 per month. $1,000 per month for a year, that's 12,000. 10 years, that's $120,000. So and let's say your beneficiary passes before you. That's $120,000 that you just kindly gave to CalPERS. Do you like CalPERS that much?
No.
Exactly.
No.
So here's what people are really doing. And let me also say this. If you pass before your beneficiary, what you've basically done is you've given CalPERS the money to give to your beneficiary.
Okay.
And so there's no money out of their pocket. So you don't want to do that either. So what are people starting to do? That's what people ask me. So what are other people doing on CalPERS? What they're doing is, if they qualify, they're getting a life insurance policy, because now they're getting that $1,000. They're paying just a small part of that $1,000 to get a life insurance policy, and now they can name whatever beneficiary they want to. So they've actually regained or recaptured control over that money. Okay, make sense?
Yes, makes perfect sense. Wow.
Okay, now go ahead and continue. Okay, now we're not going to include any beneficiaries, but if you were to pass away while you're still working, there's a death benefit that will be passed on to your beneficiaries. So let's just go ahead and say calculate estimate.
Okay.
Okay, so now it's going to show you that if you were to retire at 62, that you would get 2103 per month for the rest of your life. So if we take 2103 divided by 9,400, that's 22%. So that means that you would take about a 78% pay cut. Okay. Now, let me ask you, if they called you, University of Phoenix called you today and said, Alita, we're going to have to cut your income by 78%, how would that make you feel?
Oh, I'm gonna start praying first before I
I know where you're
respond.
going with it. I know where you're going with that. I definitely know where you're going with that. Yeah. So, and like I tell people, is that it hurts now, and it's probably going to hurt even more down the road. So typically, there's when I take a look at things, there's a way in which you can kind of compensate for that gap. You can work longer, or you can save more. Okay. Now there's two ways that people put money away for retirement. One way is, before their money is taxed, they put that money into a plan. That money grows without it being taxed. However, when they're ready to pull money out, that money is taxable. Okay. The other way is put money in.
California's rate?
Say it again now.
It's taxable at California's rate?
Well, not only at California's rate, but federal income tax as well.
Mm.
Okay. And so, and that's a good question. So now if we look at the federal, if we look at federal, people always want to know, or the schools of thought is, do you think taxes in the future are going to be lower or higher?
Higher.
Higher, absolutely. And you're smart. And I know that because that's what most experts are saying as well. Because right now, you know, if you look at the country's, the nation's debt,
Mm.
it's out of control. And what is Congress, what is the government looking at in order to make sure that this debt is handled? They're looking
They're
at
gonna raise
taxing,
taxes.
they're going to raise taxes, and they're looking at those plans like the 403B and 401ks where people allow money to accumulate, and then they tax them on that harvest. When you can pay taxes on the seed, you could have paid tax on the seed. Now you're paying tax on the harvest. So the other plan, you're paying taxes on the seed. So you're putting that money in after it's taxed. You're letting the money grow without it being taxed, and then you're able to pull money out without it being taxed. So we're talking about more tax advantages. So
I
one
like
plan is a
that.
403, absolutely. So do you have any plans in place now that you're putting money into?
Yes, actually, I do have some policies.
Oh, great.
So that was my plan of action or my backup plan in
Okay,
order to live, because I won't be able to live off of $2,000 a month.
absolutely. I definitely understand that. Well, let me ask you this. The plans that you have written, have on you now, do you know how much income that's going to be able to give you for the future?
Not exactly.
Okay, so one of the things I would like to do with you is to review those policies because I want to first and foremost want to make sure that they're structured properly. If
Okay.
they're structured properly, I can actually go through and see if it's going to give you enough income in the future. But I also would like to also do a comparison strategy.
Okay.
You know, you kind of give me an idea of how much you're putting away now, and then I'll kind of go through the numbers and put together a strategy. And we're not going to do it right now. We're going to
Okay.
set up another appointment for us to come back and we can kind of do a comparison. But I would like for you to, to send me, your a copy of your policy so I can kind of take a look at it to see if it's properly structured. And I'm gonna be fair. If it's good, I'm gonna tell you you're good, and I'll tell you the things that you can do as far as putting additional money in there. Uh,
Okay.
and then also share your comparison. Is that fair enough?
Oh, yeah, that's really fair.
Okay, great, great. Also, before we meet, one of the things I'm gonna do is I am gonna send you out, even though you have the plans, sometimes I find out people that actually have the plan, they don't necessarily understand how the things work. So I'm gonna send you out a couple of videos just to help you to further understand how the plan actually work. And then when we get together again, any questions that you have, feel free to answer those questions so that we can go through that, okay?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and set up our next appointment.